Hey Chads, that gaming author, and welcome to Chapter
Chad.
6. Yes, I said that. It's Chapter 6 of our Legends of the Black Crystal D&D campaign. So,
Not just Chads, but total Chads.
If
oh,
you
of course.
actually call your follower base Chads, I will be so happy.
I'm honest, you know what, I'm going to do that from now on. It's no longer greetings friends, it's going to be hello Chads. That's it. Alright.
That's amazing.
So, as we go ahead and begin, last time, you guys had made your way to the outpost village of Hooded River after escaping or just kind of evacuating an utterly destroyed capital of Livia. The king and queen still nowhere to be seen, and traveling with these people who appear to be part of this inclusion collaboration you've heard very little about, but seem to kind of be roped into. You guys have been just kind of traveling along the way and making your way north, where a decision had been, or yeah, a decision has been presented to you guys, either to go to the dimension of Elysium and seek Queen Lenora, or stay in this dimension and look for King Garen. And the group was to split into two, and ultimately, the group led by none other than Ben Soltris, a mortal enemy of Soren's at this point, essentially. He led his group into Elysium, potentially to their deaths, because it's another dimension, of course. But while you guys were here, Holly returned along with some other people that Cassie knew well. There were three people: a human man named Illuris, a halfling woman named Chisadri, and an 8-year-old dragon boy named Shoal. And as you all kind of became acquainted, you uh, stayed in this inn run by John Sedek, the father of the king, and his sister Sabrina. But while at this tavern, you could hear the marching of an army outside, and outside was all these people who had come from Ishtorai. And after learning that Ishtorai seemed to have been invading the Orlivia province, you guys ended up kind of taking a stand and fighting this army right here now, leading armies of your own. But then you encountered a woman who called herself Eileen, who just without mercy went ahead and cut her own people down and essentially proved a point by forcing the four of you into a fight with her and promptly knocking you guys down pretty well. She went ahead and let you guys escape, but not without the sacrifice of the young dragonborn boy Shoal, who his body had been taken by Aluris and Chisadri as the rest of you were sent to go ahead and board this train and head further north to the next destination, the castle city of Olympe, which is a city that our Matthias is well familiar with. So, with that being the case, we go
Excuse
ahead.
you, I would like to point out you missed a very important information.
Bob
You
getting
said like
stolen, yes. I know.
thank you. Bob
Sorry.
was very important.
Bob got
He is
kidnapped.
very important to me.
Bob's a side character. No one cares about him.
He may have tried to rob me, but he is my like not really an like kind of like an anti-hero, but like an anti-friend.
Anti-friend. Okay, I get what you mean though. Also, can everyone hear the music?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Just wanted to make sure. All right. So, with that being said, even though you guys haven't really gotten much of a chance to rest, after that fight, just you kind of feel energized and rejuvenated, more or less. Some of you aren't necessarily feeling it at the moment, unfortunately. But as for the rest of you, just as you go ahead and sit down on the train seats and relax into them, this relief washes over you, knowing that, well, you're no longer out in the open at this point, and you don't have any immediate threats that you are aware of. As you're in this train, you can just kind of hear it as it kind of speeds up and continues heading north through the land of endless snow. The windows kind of fog up a little bit as you're sitting inside. The temperature kind of cools down a little, and there aren't really a lot of people in the car that the four of you guys are sitting in. So it's essentially, aside from the sound of the train's wheels on the tracks, it's pretty quiet. You just look outside, and out in the east, you can very faintly see the sun rising as morning finally arrives. without realizing it, you guys had essentially been up all night dealing with this fight, and are now finally making your way to the next day. With that being the case, you guys here on the train and everyone else just kind of scattered about the cars, you kind of hear the door kind of slide open, and inside comes Janice, the one of the members of the Crown's Guard that you had kind of come to know quite well. She goes ahead and walks in, and she kind of looks at Cassie a little bit, who the rest of you see is just kind of sitting there with this distant gaze, just kind of staring at nothing in particular. And Janice just kind of pats her shoulder and sits down on one of the closest chairs. And looking at the chairs, they're surprisingly comfortable. They're kind of like made of almost like a red velvet material, and they're very like soft. Definitely meant for long rides. And Janice looks at the rest of you, and she just goes, "I must admit, I'm pretty impressed with what you guys did back there. I didn't think you had it in you to face an entire freaking army."
It was no issue.
And as you say that, Janice finally kind of like, she tilts her head and she looks at you, Arcramp, and she goes, "Where'd the little guy go?"
Please do not speak of him. He has been taken.
And
I have no idea if he is alive or dead.
Janice kind of lifts an eyebrow and she's like, "But he was an imp. Why? What purpose did they have in taking him?"
You know, I said the same thing. Got no answer.
And Janice nods and she goes, "Yeah, I guess. But freaking military people, they don't tell you shit. It sucks." And she looks at Soren and Matthias, and she just kind of looks at you two, and she goes, "Well, how are you guys doing after all this?"
I really need a drink.
Soren's head is just kind of back, and her raven, who's sitting on her shoulder, just caws very loudly and snaps his beak once, kind of in a frustrated way. But Soren herself does not speak.
Alright, and Janice just kind of nods in understanding and doesn't press you any further, and then she turns towards Matthias and goes, "You need a drink? I know the place." She goes ahead and stands up, and she kind of gestures out towards some of the carts further north of you. She goes, "There's a dining car with free drinks. You want to come?"
Thought you'd never ask. I follow Giannis.
Alright, so you go ahead and follow Janice.
I'm right behind you.
Alright, and our Crampton goes ahead and gets up, and Janice kind of leads the two of you out of the cart, and now, as the door slides closed, now it's just Soren sitting there with Cassie kind of in silence as the train continues moving forward.
The raven immediately turns to Cassie and just stares at her. The
Cassie
usual.
doesn't even notice.
Dun dun dun.
She's just staring off in the distance. Nothing.
Alright.
After a time, Soren kind of sighs and says, "You knew that boy, didn't you?"
New? Well, yeah,
I'm sorry for your loss.
I can't. It's all too soon. And I just like look away.
Soren doesn't press.
Alright. Fair enough. And with that being the case, we go back to Janice, Crampton, and Matthias, as you were all kind of making your way through the train. It's a little hard to keep your balance. It's been, it's going a little quickly, but some of the, just due to the rough terrain, like the land and the snow, the tracks kind of zigzag a little bit, so you kind of have to stand and kind of grab onto a nearby seat to keep your balance. going through the rest of the train cars, you can just kind of go ahead and kind of take a glance at all these people around here, and a lot of them are just members of the Crown's Guard, civilians, and medics and clerics, essentially trying to tend to the wounds of those who are not only in the attack on Libya, but the battle you guys had back in the river. And Janice just kind of looks around. She just shrugs and goes, I don't know what everyone's so worked up about. This is just kind of what happens when wartime comes, you know? And she just kind of turns around and notices Matthias, and she goes, nothing left to do but just kind of drink it all away, right?
Exactly.
Yay!
And then finally Janice looks at our Crampton, and she goes, so I've been wondering for a while, how in the world did you and that little imp guy meet?
Well, it's a very great story. So I just got dropped off by the alien who just got doing tests on me. That's why you saw. I'm pretty sure was that you? I don't know. Anyway, where was I going with this? Oh yeah, meeting Bob. I got dropped off by the aliens. I was gathering some supplies to get home to make a home base, and that fucker tries to rob me, but I throw him over me. I grab a nearby branch and beat him unconscious with it. Okay, and then I took some rope and I tied it to the stick that I beat him with, and that's what is my staff.
I'm glad you didn't see us, because like freaking Kayla and I were losing it over here, and you're just like, so I was dropped off by the alien. It's so good.
That's how me and Bob met.
Alright, then just the moment you say dropped off by aliens, it's just like Janice kind of gives you this look of bewilderment. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Get used to that.
I'm talking what I'm talking about. I'm telling you the truth here.
And she just kind of, she's like,
Like you're the dungeon master. Give me a persuasion check.
no, you're
I
good.
stopped
You're
Janice. I stop her and just go, don't.
good. And she goes, oh, were those the things you summoned in that fight?
Absolutely.
The things that are
The ones that finally worked and threw rocks at them.
And she just kind of shrugs and is like, well, I guess we all have our problems, so whatever, let's go drink. And she goes ahead and kind of walks a little ahead to the next car. And as you go ahead and...
I'm on board with that!
Alright, so you go ahead and head into the dining car, which is it's a little livelier than the rest of the cars, thankfully. There are kind of a few people chattering among each other. Agil and Culdry are the ones kind of behind the counter, making the drinks for everyone, considering that's just Agil's job. And he looks at the rest of you as you go ahead and enter, and he's like, friends, except for you old men. Come, sit down.
What? What do you mean accept me?
and then
Where am I supposed to go?
Freaking Culdry kind of slaps him on the shoulder, and she goes, that's not how you treat customers. And he's like, he weirded me out. I was on a boat with him for however long that was. And she was like, that was like 5 minutes. And he's like, for like 2 hours. And then he glances at you, Crampton, and he goes, alright, fine, sit down. And then he goes ahead and leans against...
Just!
He leans against the bar, and he's like, alright, what do you have? And Janice immediately sits up, and she goes, give me the hardest shit you've got. And he's like, alright, got it. And then as he turns around and is working on her order, Culdry goes in and looks at you, Matthias, and he goes, alright, so what about you two?
I'm thinking.
What was the question?
What drink you want?
Oh, Anything with alcohol in it.
And then you hear like someone in the other side of the bar go like, I hear that.
I will have a glass of milk.
And Polly's like, all right, something with alcohol and something with milk. No, milk itself. Sorry, not that makes sense. And she goes ahead and turns around and starts working on the drink. And then Egil turns around with like this freaking tall glass with a liquid with a somewhat mysterious color. It looks brown, but like you see a bit of grain mixed in for some reason. And let's see. Matthias, you'd probably be the closest one. Go ahead and make a quick, you know what? Yeah, make an Arcana check for me.
Alright, give me one moment.
Dude. I'm good at Arcana. I'm proficient. I want that one.
That's a very sad 9.
Oh.
So yeah, you look at it and you just kind of you can't really tell anything odd about it, but you can smell the alcohol like even from like 2 feet away. It is very strong. Whatever he's serving Janice over here, and she just kind of grabs the glass and goes, "All right, cool," and it goes ahead and just downs it. And she is just guzzling it like beyond fast, and then.
I join her in that action.
Alright, so you go ahead and, as Cauldry goes ahead and serves you the alcohol, you go ahead and just drink it. Go ahead and make a wisdom saving throw.
That's an 11.
Alright, not bad, not bad. So you go ahead and down the drink, and you can feel it like just warm as it goes down your throat and into your and warm your chest up, and like for a second it feels like it gets a little too warm, like unlike any alcohol you've ever really drank. But then it just kind of slowly fades away, and you definitely feel a buzz right off the bat. But it's like it's not anything bad.
Yeah, it's not anything that Matthias isn't used to.
Fair point. And then Arkrampton Cauldry goes ahead and serves you your milk, which is in a smaller glass than the alcohol these other two got. But you go ahead.
I would like to take that glass and then tie it to the stick where Bob was.
And then go ahead and make a dexterity check for me.
Oh, what?
A dexterity check.
Dexterity. All right. Okay, dexterity is I get +1, sweet. 16.
Wow, just barely beat that DC. You go ahead and like as you lift the glass to your staff, like almost as if by instinct, Cauldry like knows what you're gonna do, and she's like, no, but like you go ahead and wrap it with this twine that you used to have Bob like you had Bob tied onto initially, and you just like expertly tie it up nice and tight, and you just have this full glass of milk on your staff now, and it didn't spill at all in the process.
Awesome. Can I then use my wait, can I hold on, let me hold on, let me look at this. I have an idea. A willing creature. Damn it! I was gonna say, can I touch it with mage armor so it won't
So it won't spill, yeah.
Excuse me, ma'am. Do you have something that is known as a lid?
And she just kind of stares at you with like you can see in her face that she's trying not to look weirded out, but she's like, we have lids, but I don't think it's gonna be enough to fit on top of a whole cup like that. Sorry about that.
Alright, well that is unfortunate. Okay, so what I will do is I will go outside. I have mold earth, so I will grab a piece of earth and solidify it so it's like the perfect size of the cup, and then put it in the cup, like put it in the top of the cup,
Alright,
so it's like a lid. And then I want to tie it so I have like a full glass of milk on the staff at all times.
Okay, yeah, that totally works. Because like you are on a moving vehicle right now, but
Oh, that's
yeah,
right.
no, but like
For
looking
some
at
reason
the,
I thought we were at a bar.
oh yeah, no, you're in the dining car of the bar, but
Crap, so that
or
doesn't
the
work.
train.
I have to think of something else that's stupid.
Oh no, it's totally fine. I was reading the description and it looks like. Hang on, let me go ahead and double check. Oh, okay, yeah. No, you actually have to be able to. It looks like you have to be able to, like, actually
Yeah.
do it. So yeah.
Damn it. That's right. For some reason I thought we were in a tavern. God damn it.
I mean, I don't
No,
blame
that's
you.
right. We're in the freaking train. Okay, something else that's stupid. That doesn't work. So disregard all that.
All right.
Well, I do want the milk on the staff. I just need to think of a better way. No, we'll just keep it on and hope for luck.
I can if you like.
Matthias turns real quick. Matthias turns to our Crampon and goes, "One word, balance."
Balance.
Yeah, I was gonna say like if you like use your staff to attack, I could totally have you make like dexterity checks to see if like any of the milk stays in the process.
That will work.
All right. So
So yeah, I have a glass of milk tied to my staff now.
Alright, cool. And then Janice kind of looks over at you, and you can see, like she definitely looks faded at this point. She kind of turns to your cramp and she goes, "What you gonna name it?"
Name? Milk? Kiln.
There's just this awkward silence, and like, go ahead and make a quick insight check.
Insight check, alright. Oh, what is that? That better not be. Oh, okay, I thought that was a 1 for a second. Alright. You said it would, what now?
Insight.
Insight. 2. 9. Crap.
Oh, okay. See, like, alright, yeah, I just wanted to make sure. So, with that being the case, Janice kind of nods and she goes, "Alright, I could get with that." And she kind of looks at the rest of you, stands up, and kind of slams her palms against the bar, and she goes, "Well, I'm gonna pass out. See you guys." And she just kind of stumbles out of the dining car, and then as she does, Egil's just kind of watching her, like he has a washcloth in class, and washing it out in the nearest sink. And he goes, "Kids these days." And then he looks at you two and goes, "Well, we've got about 6 to 7 hours before we make it to Olympe, so feel free to kick back and relax on the train, alright? I will see you at some time, I suppose." And he goes ahead and sets the glass down and kind of tosses the washcloth over the sink and begins to head out of the dining car. Is there anything else you two would like to do while you're in the dining car or anything?
Nope.
Alright.
No.
And then, with that being the case, you guys go ahead and finish your drinks and head back to the car where Soren and Cassie have been in. And as you go in, it's just, you can kind of feel the tension in the room. It's silent, but just, you can tell things aren't exactly right at the moment. And then Soren and Cassie, as they come in, the first thing you two immediately notice is the fact that our Crampon has a full glass of milk tied to his staff where Bob once was.
Are you gonna make cheese or butter with that?
You know, I don't really know. I just thought that'd be a good idea. It's kiln.
If you ever want to stop thinking, that might be a good plan.
What makes you think I think?
She does not answer that.
Are you thinking
Well-
that I'm thinking that you think that I think that you think that he thinks that you think that I think that she thinks that I think?
I think there's a lot too much thinking going on in this room.
Well, it doesn't really matter since eventually it'll just turn into yogurt.
I don't think so.
I
I couldn't help but laugh at my own joke.
Oh my gosh.
Usually
Oh
when
my
I have
god,
milk,
that's
I
hilarious.
just drink it. Okay.
I don't think so. Great.
Alright. So you guys go ahead and settle down and sit back down on the, like, in your respective seats. No one else really comes into your car, and, there are other cars behind you, but not a lot of people pass through. Like, maybe one person every half hour or so, but for the most part, it's pretty quiet. And as you guys are heading further north, you're all pretty close to the window. All of you go ahead and make a perception check for me.
Perception. Roll the dice. Come on. Something good.
14.
Something good.
Nice.
Oh shit! What the fuck? Where the fuck over there? Hold on. I need
That's
to.
cocked. My bad.
Okay.
That's a 26.
That's going in dice jail.
I rolled a 6.
Wait. Perception.
Yeah, perception.
6.
I see
Okay.
everything.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, you
Okay.
really can. Freaking rogues.
D&D Beyond wasn't much better.
D&D Beyond.
I see nothing.
Well, I mean, understandably so, to be honest.
Yeah.
Alright,
Alright, I got mine.
Alright, what is it?
18.
Ooh, not bad, alright. So pretty much everyone but Cassie notices, but as you guys are going through, and the day is kind of breaking, it's very thick and cloudy. This is the land of endless snow, so it's reasonable that there's really not any sun here. But as you're passing through these snowy fields, you can kind of see the tops of houses kind of buried in the snow, but like some of them are poking out. There are like ruins of brick buildings and even some like remnants of various like wooden carriages and even some technology that none of you have ever really seen before.
What kind of technology we see?
It's just
What are we looking at?
it's a lot of metal work. It's a lot of a lot of it is buried in the snow, so you can only really see the surface. But like on some of them, you can see like a kind of like these large metallic contraptions that have like these openings, and within the openings, they're like little tiny metal gears and screws, and none of them are working. They're all rusted over and just completely drenched in the snow. But
I don't see anything.
yeah, but
I just see...
Did we fall victim to its metal?
To its what?
It's a reference, don't worry about it.
But yeah, just from what you can glean, it looks like before this was the land of endless snow, there was a lot more here, and it wasn't just a plain barren snowfield.
It just looks like a plain barren snowfield to me.
Alright, and as you guys go ahead and continue the ride, you kind of fall asleep a little bit, and just kind of doze off. You don't have to worry about like long rest or whatever, because you're all healed up, apparently, because I didn't read things. And as you guys are kind of going further up, Krampin, you are woken up by just this sudden gust of wind that just kind of blows across your face, and
Well, my meditation was
meditation's
interrupted.
interrupted. Yes, you know what I mean. And as you kind of feel this, your eyes open, and the train has completely come to a stop. The windows are all open, and it is just freezing inside. But it doesn't really bother you because you're too old to be bothered by weather. But
True.
but you look at your friends, and they're all asleep, but they all look like very pale. Their lips are blue. They look almost completely frozen. And
Oh my gosh. Here I am being like I'm like a very like I like fire when it comes to moves, and here I am like looking through all my spells. I'm like, really? I don't have anything involving fire. I have the opposite. I have chill touch. That won't help.
So you're just going ahead and standing here, and you can just kind of hear the wind. like just kind of go in and out, almost like oceanic waves, and then this feeling of dread settles over you. You look at your glass of milk, and it is just completely frozen over on the top, and
Oh, he's making ice cream,
No.
not milk or butter, or cheese or butter.
plot twist.
No, not frozen milk. No.
I don't think milk just turns into ice cream.
No.
That's what I was like confused. Like what?
But it also doesn't turn just into
Yeah.
cheese or
Yeah.
yogurt.
Well,
Whole
it's
process.
frozen now, so it's just frozen milk. So Cribbin just silently screaming, so, like I don't want to, like I don't know if I want to wake you guys up yet. So I'm just like, nah.
So you go and look at your milk, but then out of the corner of your eye, you can see this dark figure. You go ahead and turn up towards it, and in the snowfields just to the west of you, you can see what appears to be black fire. And it's just kind of burning with like a purple outline and going,
Ooh.
like, it's just burning higher and higher. And then in the fire, you can see this, like, gentle silhouette that just faintly appears. You can see this humanoid silhouette with very long, gangly limbs, very, like, spidery fingers, and massive
is it the
leathery
little girl
wings
again?
spreading out from its back.
Slenderman?
You can't make out any other features on him, but you look at him, and he just kind of stares back at you, and he goes, and then you just kind of hear this voice that begins to speak, and it rumbles so deeply that it almost sounds like you're inside a bass drum or something when it's speaking, and it just says, "Are you our Krampin Warlock?"
Yeah. Why are you being so loud in my head?
Go ahead and make a wisdom saving throw.
Wisdom saving. All right. Oh crap! What is it? Wisdom. Oh wait, wisdom saving. That's this one. Um. 15
All right. You take 4 points of psychic damage.
of psychic damage.
Yep.
Oof.
You just feel this pulse in your brain, and you hear this loud, like, high-pitched ringing in your ears, like almost to the point where you start like feeling this slightest bit of blood kind of dripping from your ears, and you quickly clutch your head, and then the pain just kind of resonates there, and then you hear the voice again say, "I will ask again. Do not disappoint me. Are you our Krampin Warlock?"
Yes.
Good. And then the black fire disappears, as well as the figure, and then you just kind of hear, and then, like, in the train car, you can see the silhouette. It doesn't quite look the same, but it has a very similar presence. But now, it's appearing to you as this figure in a long cloak and this hood, kind of Organization 13 style, you could say. And this time, strangely enough, his voice is quieter when he speaks, but like you can still hear it in your head, and he just goes, "Do you know where you are from?"
No.
The cloaked figure nods, and then he kind of vanishes again, and then the train around you kind of begins to dissolve a little bit. And it's kind of falling into the environment, but the environment around the train is dissolving as well. The sky, the snow, everything is kind of dissolving into this black void. And then out in the distance, you can see that little ghost girl you've seen so many times before, and she begins to speak, but it's not her voice. It's the voice that you've heard these last few times. And as he speaks again, the voice kind of echoes into the void, and he says, "Do you have a goal?"
I'm sorry. Why?
Go ahead and make a wisdom saving throw.
God damn it! Every time I can't hear. I'm an old man. Um. Still wisdom saving. You said.
Yeah, wisdom saving throw.
Um. 18.
Ooh.
No, 19.
Alright, that's still good. You do still take 2 points of psychic damage.
Damn it.
And you just kind of feel that pulse in your head again. This time it's not as intense, but it's still enough to be almost just like migraine inducing. And then
Listen to your persona.
you hear the voice again and says, "Do you have a goal?"
Yes! Help do what I'm told. Help the others save Garen.
Make another wisdom saving throw.
I'm gonna die.
Mhm.
Oh wait, that one's pretty good. 24.
Alright. Ooh. You only take 1 point of psychic damage this time. Alright. And then
Down to 16 health.
the little girl fades, and you blink, and the moment your eyes open back up, the void is gone, and you're in the cave you were back in Allure when all this began. You're in that dark cave, and you can kind of hear the drips of water echoing off the cave walls out in the distance, and you can hear the gentle whistling of wind coming from the surface. And then, out in the distance, you can see the corpse of one of those birds you had killed at the end of the cave. But the bird kind of looks up, its head's still kind of mutilated, but like it has one eye open, and then it begins to speak, and it's this voice, and it says, "Do you remember what happened to your family?"
No.
The bird nods, and the cave again begins to shift and kind of warp, and then you find yourself in the house that you found in that cave. Only this time, you can hear lively big band music kind of playing from a gramophone with like the crackling behind it, but it's kind of echoing. It sounds like, despite being very close to it, it sounds very close, or it sounds very far away. My apologies. And as you look into the house, you can kind of hear a few voices chattering and cheering, and you walk into the den of this house you had been exploring previously, and not only do you see that little girl you've been seeing, but around her, you can see 2 full-grown adult elves, male and female, and then by the young girl is a younger elven male, and he's just sitting there kind of reading from a storybook in front of this crackling fire. And then as you're watching this, your heart just kind of beats a little harder than usual for a moment. And then the vision just kind of disappears back into the void. No figure appears this time, but you hear the voice again and says, "Do you wish to take revenge on the one who took them away?"
I don't know.
Make a wisdom saving throw for me.
Ugh. 19.
Not bad. You take 1 more point of psychic damage.
Damn it.
And then you hear the voice again, like as you're just kind of grasping your head and just unsure of what you've been seeing, and the voice says, "Do you wish to take revenge on the one who took them away?"
Sure, why not? Let's do this.
Go ahead and make a wisdom saving throw for me.
God damn it. Ooh, finally a good one. Oh right, 23.
Alright, you take 1 point of psychic damage.
This is unfortunate.
Alright, so, with that being the case, the reality kind of comes back in, but it's this reality where the train is frozen and your friends are still all asleep. And as reality comes back to you, you kind of feel something appear in your hand in this bright flash. And you don't look down necessarily. Some sort of fear grips you and you're unable to look down. But you go ahead and your arms stretch out, and I want you to go ahead and roll an attack for me.
An attack?
Yeah.
What do you mean? You
Just roll a
mean
straight d20.
like, huh?
Just roll a straight d20.
All right. Wait, that was bad. Let me try again. There we go. Oh wow, 11.
All right, so you suddenly feel this sharp pain in your stomach, and let's see here. All right, as you look down, you can see your hands wrapped around the hilt of this crystal dagger that you had plunged into your own chest, and you take 6 points of piercing damage.
Why? Stop with this nonsense.
Says the
Eight.
person who wanted to play a crazy character.
That is a good point.
You go
But
ahead
I'm not being frenzied here.
you go ahead and pull the dagger out, and just kind of trembling at the fact that you did that. Go ahead and make a charisma saving throw.
Charisma saving. Where the hell? Hold on 1 second. This will be easy. Oh, damn it. A charisma?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 16.
Mm. So you hear, so after looking at this dagger, you don't really have time to examine it before your eyes just kind of shoot wide open, and you hear the whispering voice that you had been hearing, but it's like it's all around and just kind of melding together. But you can just barely hear the faintest hint of the voice saying, "Do you wish to take revenge on the one who took them away?" And then, with that, go ahead and make another attack.
You didn't say anything. Were you supposed? Did it
Oh,
cut
did you not hear
out?
that?
Huh?
Oh, did you not hear what I said?
No.
Oh,
Nah.
okay. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's
you've been cutting out sometimes. I just thought you just went silent on purpose.
oh no. So the voice just kind of you hear the voice whispering and it's kind of overlapping, and it like you just very faintly hear the words, "Do you wish to take revenge on the one who took them away?" And then go ahead and make another attack.
16.
All right. So you watch your hand almost like not at all of your own volition, just kind of turn the knife towards your stomach and kind of stab right back into it, but it kind of grazes it and goes to the side, and this time you only take 3 points of slashing damage.
Are you trying to kill me?
And
Is
then
this how you get rid of me?
finally, finally you go ahead and pull the dagger away, and like away from, like aside from the all the blood on the blade, you look at the blade, and it's actually just pure clear crystal. Go ahead and make a history check for
A history check. Second.
me. It all comes back to you, and you look at the rest of your friends, and they all look perfectly normal now. And they all just kind of, and the rest of you, you didn't really see much on your end, but for a small amount of time, our Crampon, without saying a word to anyone, just kind of got up and walked to another car. And then he comes back with this dagger in his hand and just bloody wounds across his stomach.
Right? Save all the fun for yourself. Don't share it. Why don't you?
Oh, no, you may say that, but when I tell you this story, you're gonna actually think I'm making it up. But there was dwarves, there was elves, there was a little girl, and then for some reason I stabbed myself, and then there's a dagger.
All right. The only unrealistic thing there was the dwarves and the elves.
I don't believe you half the time anyway, so.
They're called visions.
Well, are you okay? You know, you look like, just
No.
like point towards his wounds. I'm like, I don't think those were from the battle. You left and then you came back with them.
Who's good with the freaking history things? Who's good with knives? Who can I give this to?
Well, you can choose to share the information you received with anyone.
Yes, I would like to do that.
I just keep the information
Okay,
in private so you can decide whether or not you want to.
right. So, first up, let's get me healed and patched up a bit, and then I will tell you everything we need to know about this thing.
Okay. I'm gonna cast Cure Wounds on him.
Alright.
Does that get me back, or how much health does
I
it?
have to roll for it.
Oh,
Give me
okay,
a
okay,
second.
okay.
I wasn't fully prepared.
I don't think anyone was fully prepared for that.
I was. For once, I was.
And I have to look at something. It's been a while since I've actually healed anything.
Every other time I forget something. This time, I'm good.
I mean, plot-wise.
Oh, right, true.
You recover 8 hit points.
8? That's great. I'm not complaining. Alright. Now that I have... Oh, nice, 13. Awesome. Alright, I'm just gonna see. Okay. Here's what I know. I'm just gonna read what he sent me. This is a crystal dagger. It is an artifact unique to the... Oh my gosh, this is gonna drive me crazy. Because I can't exactly... Okay. Hold on. Let me adjust my screen. Okay. It's an artifact unique to the continent. Is it Merlin or what? How's it pronounced?
A Merlin.
A Merlin?
A Merlin, yeah.
Okay. Continent of Merlin. Forged by master dwarves that live among the giants there. There were only ever 3 crystal daggers, and the one given to me, if I wish. Hold on. I didn't actually finish reading this because, well, I skimmed it because you were talking. I'm like, I gotta listen to this so I can know what I can say. It's like, dude, I gotta read this.
Oh god.
Okay,
I'm so happy your character
but
exists.
okay, this one. Okay, I do have a question about this thing, about this whole message here. It doesn't really explain why I needed to stab myself.
Of course it's not going to explain why. That's
Okay.
intentional.
Okay, fine. Okay, so I was given this because apparently, because I wanted revenge on a person. I honestly don't know. And I don't know how I got these blades. I just stabbed them into myself. Or not blades, freaking wounds.
Freaking wounds.
Uh-oh, we lost someone. Oh, okay.
Alright, she's back.
Yeah, for some reason it cut out on me.
Oh, okay.
I just pretty much did wounds. Well, does someone want to examine this thing?
If you think it's got any magic, I can look at it. But if you're just wanting to know who made it and shit like that, then I can't help you.
Well, he just told us who made it.
Master dwarfs. Does anyone know anything about dwarfs?
I knew a man.
Oh my gosh. I mean, you're not wrong, though.
I mean, yeah.
I don't
But
He wasn't from
speak
a Merlin.
dwarf or I speak Minotaur.
I speak Minotaur.
Why couldn't it have been made by Minotaurs? That'd be great.
Actually, speaking of which, Campbell, go ahead and roll a perception check at disadvantage for me.
So that's 2 and then the lower one. What is that? I can't tell what that is. Oh. So okay, so 10. A perception you said?
Yeah.
Where the hell? Oh, right there in front of my damn face. And then I lost it again. There it is. Okay, 16.
Alright. So the entire time you're talking about this, and like almost seemingly as though it was supposed to happen, like as you're talking about how you speak Minotaur and you just don't understand this, you kind of feel something in like your robes that you don't recall being there before. Kind of like in one of your pockets. It's just something there that feels like it should have always been there, but you don't remember it.
Can I search my robe for it?
Oh yeah, of course. It's easy enough. You just go ahead and kind of search where you feel it, and you just kind of feel around on your cloak, and you pull this out. And as you go ahead and pull this out, it's this thing that's it's about the size of your palm.
Where you going with this?
It's the size of your palm, and it's like this ruby pendant with kind of like a gold lining, and it's got like this little kind of hoop around the top where you'd like put a chain or a rope if you were to wear this, and then you kind of like your fingers kind of feel the back of it. You kind of feel something etched in, and you turn it around, and you can see the scrawlings of of what you interpret to be the Minotaur language. And here is what you read from that. Now let me go ahead and do something, because my crap got all messed up last time I tried typing something, because I set hotkeys on my streaming thing and I really should not have done so. Alright, there we go. That should work. You got it, buddy.
How's everyone doing? Oh wait, am I in the wrong? Wait, what's in the
Alright, so once it sends, for some reason it's not sending, but
Discord.
yeah.
I got so many things I gotta keep track. I gotta put them on. I gotta take revenge on someone for something I don't know. I got reasons for something in my thing. Guys, I got like a thing I need that's written in Minotaur. Should I read it?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh
Should
my
I
god,
translate that to English?
Would you like to translate?
Yes.
You're the only
Okay.
one.
It just says to Ark. I hope you make the right decision. I don't know what he means by that. I don't even know who he is.
Well, are there any decisions you don't remember making? That happens to me a lot.
I think it might be
You know, I wish I could tell you.
Oh my goodness.
Well then.
My ribs hurt.
Hmm?
Oh, that's funny.
Agreed.
I was not expecting that.
Alright. So as you guys are just kind of sitting here having this discussion, the train finally kind of starts coming to a slowdown as it kind of starts cresting its way along this large stone bridge, just kind of leading up in this massive curve. And ahead of you, you can see this tall stone brick castle that spreads out for miles and miles. Like, it's an entire town within the vicinity of this castle. And the train comes up over this bridge, and then you just hear as it goes and pulls into the station, and then like exhaust hissed out from the bottom of the train as it goes and pulls into this castle. There are just numerous people, all in very green like green centered uniforms, just kind of leading everyone away from the platform. There are a bunch of people that kind of giving a glance. They don't appear to be traveling, but they appear to be watching the train. And let's see. Cassie, you'd probably be closest to this. Go ahead and roll a perception check for me, or insight check. My apologies.
I once again was not prepared. Might be. Ooh, that's really good. Indiana is weird now. Okay. Well, it's plus 20. Because I rolled an 18 and I have plus 4.
True. Alright.
So, a lot.
So as you're looking out the window, you can actually see it on a lot of their expressions. They all look very worried. Like, you can kind of glean that they probably know about the attacks that happened in Libya and Hooded River, and it appears almost as though they've been awaiting your arrival, just from what you can see. And as this train goes in and finally rolls into the station, everyone kind of stands up and is beginning to unanimously kind of walk off board. And you look outside, and all the people who are kind of waiting out by the platform, they're all embracing a lot of the people coming out of the train, just sobbing, just talking to them. And then Glenn walks up to to your guys' car, and he looks at all of you, and he goes, "Well, we're at our destination. I hope the ride wasn't too long, but come along. We'll be finding a place to rest and hopefully discussing our situation soon." And then he just kind of glances at our Krampin, who's still kind of holding his stomach, and he just goes, "What happened to him?"
Myself!
We'd rather him not explain again.
And Glenn actually just kind of laughs a little, and he kind of clasps our Krampin on the shoulder, and goes, "I understand. This man is a little weird, but I like him."
And then I put my hand on his shoulder and go, "I am a danger to myself and others."
And Glenn just kind of stares at you and he goes, "Aren't we all? Alright, well, I'm getting off board and I'll be talking with Ollie. The rest of you may go ahead and decide where you want to rest. There are numerous places. And with that, hopefully we will be reconvening soon. I'll send some people out when we're ready to continue this discussion." And he goes ahead and leaves the cart. And do the rest of you go ahead and get off this train with the rest of the people?
Yep.
Alright.
Yeah, absolutely.
Alright. So you go ahead and get off this train, and as you walk out, the temperature isn't nearly as cold as you'd expect it to be, considering you had just passed through this snowy pass. But the interior of the city of Olympe, a place that Matthias is well familiar with, is surprisingly warm. And just kind of glancing around at the town, you can see how far it spreads. It's under the cover of this castle, and to your guys' right, which would be the north, you can see kind of this freight elevator with a few soldiers guarding it. And they're wearing armor, but they're also wearing the green cloth of the other employees here in Olympe. They're standing guard at this kind of freight elevator, and you can see the people that are coming and going from this freight elevator are all dressed in very fancy-looking clothing, like just very fancy-looking like suede suits and long fur cloaks and stuff like that. And Matthias, you know that this is the passage to the other floors of Olympe. That there are 5 floors in this city. The bottommost floor is where the commoners live, and it's the biggest one. And the remaining floors, the higher you go, the higher up on the chain the other people are. But here, you guys go ahead and step out onto the station, and spread out before you is this wide residential area, just with like high-rise houses and plenty of people playing outside. Right now, just kind of looking at where you're at, you can see a road that kind of cuts straight through this residential area and almost splits it into like a river. And the road branches off and goes into the other houses, but straight across, you can see other places. Like you can see, like right in the middle of the road, like an intersection. You can see that there's this border between the residential area and what Matthias describes as the commercial district. And as you guys are just kind of standing here, looking at your surroundings, you see this. You can kind of hear this, like these horse hooves kind of coming up and then the creaking of these wheels. And this wooden carriage comes up to you and looks up at all of you and goes, "Well, top of the afternoon to you, I suppose. Would you be liking a ride anywhere?"
Can we get me to a hospital?
And the man kind of looks at your wounds, and he goes, yes, those do look somewhat serious. We can probably find a place. Come aboard. Let me go. I was not prepared. Alright, so he's just kind of looking up at you, and he goes, I could definitely give you a ride. It'll cost just 1 copper for a ride, though. 1 copper from each of you.
Alright.
Alright. So those of you who decide to take this card, you do pay 1 copper if you want to.
Alright. Oops. I accidentally added instead of removed. There we go. And yes, I did remove the one I accidentally added.
Alright. Yeah?
I think I'll decline on that ride for now.
Alright. Simple enough. And then, Soren, Cassie, what are you guys doing?
Somebody's gotta
I
watch
think
the
for
road.
now, Soren's just gonna quietly tag along.
Okay.
I'm gonna go.
Oh, look at that. Someone does care about the old man.
She's more afraid that one of their party members is gonna do something stupid, so she's there keeping an eye on you. She's not worried about the other people around, she's worried about you doing something dumb.
The fact is, our Krampin is insane and he appreciates the gesture nonetheless.
Yep, fair point. So, with that, you guys go ahead.
It's like Joker saying, oh, glad to see you here.
You each go ahead and pay your copper, and the man at the helm goes ahead and kind of cracks the reins, and the horse turns around and starts making its way across that central road you had seen upon entering. And we will get back to where you guys are heading later. So with that, Matthias, you having declined, and you're just kind of standing here on the more or less near the train platform, and kind of on the border between this train platform and the residential area, which is not a really good border. With that being the case, you're kind of surrounded by all these people reuniting, heading out towards the commercial district for a drink, going to the inns to reserve rooms before they're all taken up. What is it you'd like to do?
I would actually like to start going off of the beaten path and heading towards my cave in the West Mountains.
Okay, so just as a point of order, you're actually on the eastern side of the city, and it's 30 miles across to get to the other side of town.
Right,
So
alright.
if you were to go by foot, you'd probably arrive the morning of the next day.
Okay.
So just you can still do it if you want, but I just wanted to let you know that it will take a while for you to get over there.
Well, then I'll just start walking through the commercial district from east to west.
Okay, so with that being the case, you go ahead and first cross through this residential district that, since you live in the west, you don't necessarily come through this area as much, so you're not as familiar with the layout of these streets, but you're just looking around, and as you're going through these buildings, you just kind of see people sitting outside on the balconies of these high-rise buildings. You can see children playing around in the streets, and kind of in the distance, kind of like a couple old guys showing off some magic tricks they recently learned, and some bewildered children watching them. And as you're going through here, you just kind of take in the sights and realize how long it's really been since you've been here. It hasn't been like a large amount of time, but you just kind of take a moment and reflect on everything going on. You look at all these people, and for a moment, it kind of hits you that none of these people really realize like the danger that's happening in this province. And then, as you're kind of thinking about this, you kind of bump shoulders with someone, and as you kind of go ahead and turn around, you can see that the man you bump shoulders with is a familiar face, wearing this black suit, just kind of having this a very gentle expression, which you're not quite familiar with, but you do know the man to be Michael, and beside him is his partner, Zale, and as you two bump into each other, Michael just kind of smirks, and he goes, "It's been a while now, hasn't it, Matthias?"
Yes, it has been quite some time. Apologies for bumping into you, but
And Michael's like, "Oh, no, don't worry about it. I've been wondering where you were. I had my friend Zale here try to contact you subconsciously, but I fear he may have gone a little overboard." And you kind of recall that being when you were in Hooded River, and you saw them in that vision, and
You're immediately uncomfortable.
yeah. And he just kind of, like, you look at Zale, and he has the same stern face, just as usual, and he just kind of has his hands pulled out in front of himself. And Michael goes, "Well, if you have nothing better to do, I would like to have a chat while we're heading this way." And he goes and gestures towards the west, and he goes, "If you're heading home that way, I'd be more than glad to head over there with you."
no problem. And real quick, can I actually make a perception check here to scope out maybe any churchgoers?
Oh yeah, go ahead and make a perception.
Yeah, because
Because yeah,
I'm a little worried
your
about
last
that.
encounter with one was not fun.
That's a 19.
Alright, yeah, looking around in the streets, you just see the general civilian population, and no one really strikes you as, like, if there are any churchgoers here, they're not like fanatics, like the ones you've encountered before. And throughout the residential area, you do see some, like, modest temples dedicated to the various gods, kind of like Olivia had, but other than that, none that you see as a threat, necessarily.
I'd go ahead and follow him to the seating area he pointed me to.
Alright. Well, I guess Michael's more leading you, just kind of, he's taking the same walk you were going on to head to the commercial district. And as he's walking, he kind of, he just kind of looks at you and he goes, "It'll take hours to get to the commercial district." And he goes in, he puts like his index finger and thumb into his mouth and he gives a loud whistle. And you can see one of the carriages that are just going all across these streets come riding by. And the carriage driver is this dwarven woman, and she looks up at Michael, and her eyes kind of widen, and she goes, "Michael, what are you doing here so soon?" And he just goes, "Don't worry about it, I'm just on a nice walk with my friend here." And he goes up and pats her shoulder, and he goes, "Shall we get a ride to the commercial district so we can grab a drink or two?" And she goes, "Oh, yes, of course, it's in the house." And then she looks at you, Matthias, and she goes, "You're a friend of these two, it seems, are you?"
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Oh, she just looks at you, and she goes, "Are you a friend of these two?"
You could say that.
She just nods, and she's like, "All right, if you're willing, go ahead and get in with these two, and I'll take you to the closest tavern, so you may all have a drink."
Good.
Alright, so you go ahead and hop into that cart, and it begins going ahead and taking you to the commercial district. And then while this all has been going on, we're back to the cart that Soren, Cassie, and our Crampin are in, and the ride's surprisingly smooth. Like, after entering the city from the east, you expected there to be more cobblestone streets, kind of like Livia has, but a lot of them are very smooth stone, and it's been a very comfortable ride for the most part on your way over to the closest hospital.
Well, that's a good thing. It's not like I'm anything. I don't exactly need a bumpy ride.
Fair enough. And then this cart driver, he goes ahead and it doesn't take too long to go ahead and get you across town on this carriage here, but you're kind of looking around at the sites on each side, and the residential district spreads about 15 miles to the west before it's kind of crossed by this intersection road that goes north to south. And as you go ahead and get to this intersection, you can kind of see a few varying buildings in size lining this road, but just kind of glancing at their signs, you can immediately tell that these are all inns here in the city of Olympe. And then beyond that is the commercial district that Matthias would have told you about when he was with you. It's another 15-mile kind of block leading to the western side of town, and all around it there are just various food stalls. They're like more towards the south. You can hear musicians tuning their instruments or kind of singing on stage. Some drunk singers aren't as good as they think they are, and pretty much, yeah. And as this carriage is kind of going through these roads of Olympe, you're kind of keeping an eye on the way the roads are structured. It's almost maze-like with how many buildings are here. You can gather that this city, despite being within the confines of a castle, is probably the size of Livia, if not larger. And finally, the carriage goes ahead and stops at this very small wooden building. With kind of like a steepled roof, and it's lined with stone brick, but for the most part, it's made of wood. And just kind of a door with a rounded top at the front. And aside from a few other windows, you don't really see any other details on this building. But the carriage driver, regardless, goes ahead and stops and kind of pulls on the reins and get the horses to stop. And he goes, "Well, this is the Madame's hospital. I suppose if you'd like to go ahead and get this taken care of, you can go in there. And if anyone else wishes to go anywhere on this ride, I can still take you. It doesn't require any extra cost."
Nope.
I'm here to watch him.
I'm going in there.
All right. Thank you very much.
Goodbye. Thank you.
And you go ahead and, Crimpin, as you're getting out of the cart, go ahead and make a dexterity check for me.
Can I try and catch him if he's about to fall?
Oh
I'll
gosh,
say
you
it's
may
not
have to do
necessarily
that.
about to
I got a
fall.
10.
I'll at least say that much. Okay, so you kind of stumble.
Can I give him a 16 instead, please?
Yes. So you kind of stumble, and the staff kind of jerks a little bit, and the milk kind of splashes against the edges, but nothing falls out.
Yay, my milk! I may be bleeding and holding my guts in, but I still have my milk.
Milkman.
Yep. Then, with that, you guys go ahead and get closer to this hospital. And again, looking at it, it looks more like a house than a hospital. There's no real signs indicating, like, what exactly this is, but you can at least tell that it's not like a shady place. It's still decent enough. So with that being the case, you go ahead and walk closer, and do you go ahead and enter?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. You go ahead and push the door open, rather, and as you go in, just this immediate smell of cleaning solution and just mixed potions and a faint hint of marijuana goes ahead and catches your nose, catches your noses, and
we can buy drugs here, guys.
These people know how to heal.
So this is Portland, isn't it?
More or less, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my
it makes
gosh.
sense.
Alright, sorry, I have to figure out some technical problems because I'm dumb and didn't prepare. Alright, alright. And with that being the case, you go and walk in and looking around. You're kind of in the foyer of this main building, and it's pretty much rectangular foyer. There are a few chairs kind of lining the right and left walls with very sharp-angled square windows, kind of viewing the outside of this room. And on the wall, most in front of you, is this kind of long hallway that goes in towards the rest of this quote-unquote hospital. And let's see. Soren, since you're mostly kind of being our Crampton's like babysitter at the moment, go ahead and make a perception check real quick.
Okay.
Babysitter.
That's gonna be a 23.
Wow, alright. So just being blind for so long has kind of enhanced your hearing, and even though you can see, you can actually hear in the distance kind of faint music playing and a couple people laughing in like somewhere down the hallway in this building.
In the hospital.
Yeah.
And I'm not entirely sure we're gonna get the kind of healing, and I'll do some air quotes, that we're looking for here, but guess it's worth a shot.
And then I would like to, like, is there like a bell or anything, or can I like go, hey? Can I call out, hey, in Minotaur?
Alright, so go ahead and make an intimidation check.
An intimidation check?
With advantage, because it's in Minotaur, and your Minotaur voice is amazing.
Oh, okay, with advantage, awesome. So,
And you have to actually do it.
Yes, actually do it.
of course I do. You think I'm not? Are you insane? Right, with
You don't get the
advantage.
advantage if you don't do it live.
Exactly.
Okay, so yep, intimidation. And I'm proficient in that, so it's +2 onto what's already a plus. Awesome. So sick. 21.
Alright, so what's your Minotaur call for these people to get to you? Yes. Alright.
Why do we endorse this?
Why don't we? It's amazing. So
Out of all the languages I could have picked, I picked Minotaur, and I
I'm
don't
so
regret.
happy you did.
This is really making me want to play a Minotaur now that only speaks Minotaur.
Yes,
doesn't
oh my-
even speak Common.
Oh no.
That would be amazing. Alright, so
Just have our cramp in there, just as like a like a bad
You can translate
translator.
that.
Like I
Bad
try to
translate.
translate, but my
It'll
crazy.
be a game of telephone, just
Pretty much.
non-stop.
Yep,
From start
exactly.
to finish, but in the single transfer.
You'd be like, the weapons are down by the ocean, and I'll be like, she needs some cranberry stat.
I was drinking water when he said that. I was not prepared. Alright.
It's like bad translating. It's great.
Oh my
Maybe
gosh.
it's my next character.
Yes, oh that's perfect. So like the moment you do that, you just hear this like Jesus. And
Oh my
then
gosh.
that was exaggerated, but screw it. I actually knocked down basically my entire desk doing that. So
Worth it.
hey, it's worth it. It's hey, freaking
Method actor. We
That was
what are you
appreciate
gonna
it.
say? Special
Great
effects
sound
freaking
bit.
expert here, alright?
Also,
If the music wasn't going, I'd take that sound bit and use it as a freaking. And just use that whenever I need something to crash. Because that was like a genuine fucking like.
Yeah, I'll fix that later. Whatever. So, and then you hear that just crash, and then, like, the voices go silent, and then you kind of hear footsteps go ahead and go across the hall, and just kind of glancing at it, the hallway is not very well lit, but you can see lights coming in from, like, rooms lining the hallway. And, come walking in, there's, like, this, little bald goblin man, and he just kind of glares up, he kind of looks up at all of you with squinted eyes, and they're all bloodshot, and he just goes, "The hell did that?"
That'd be me!
And he just kind of points at you with a finger and he's like, I like you. And he turns around to the rest of you and goes, what's your business?
Yeah, if you like me so much, how about you freaking stitch me up? That'd be great.
Soren just points at his abdomen.
and this goblin just nods and goes, I see, I see.
I barely nicked my beard.
Oh yeah, actually, like glancing at it, your beard's perfectly fine, which is weird considering it's white, but there's no blood on it or anything. But
Excellent.
this goblin just kind of nods and looks at you with his squinted eyes and is like, all right, come with me. I'll go ahead and see what we can do about the patch job. And
Excellent.
this is gonna annoy me. All right, and then so Arkraven, you go ahead and follow her, and Soren and Cassie, do you go and follow this strange goblin folk as well?
Yeah. I mean, we're here to babysit, apparently.
Jesus, seems like a wonder. And then, with that,
And I'd like to yell out after them as they're leaving, just like, "Oh, I'm sorry that my bleeding dying is inconveniencing your day." Just a quick. A train.
here to enjoy the snow.
And then the goblin woman's like, yeah, by train. That's usually the way people get here. And she kind of pokes in her stomach a little bit and, like, continues finishing up. And she goes, how did you get these wounds?
I gave them to myself.
And she just kind of glances up at you and stops. And she goes, why the fuck would you do that?
I wish I could tell you, lady.
Go ahead and make a persuasion check.
all-
will you?
All I do is I point at the milk on his staff and say, he does a lot of things that we don't really understand. Just go with it.
And she glances at the milk and, like,
Oh,
now.
fuck. Did you say roll a perception check?
Persuasion.
Oh, persuasion. Oh, I'm fucked. I don't care if I am. I'm probably... persuasion, yep, I'm efficient. Oh, I'm screwed. 7. I got a natural 1.
Oh no.
And she just goes, alright, yeah, sure, I believe you. Anyway, and then she goes in and kind of finishes up the job and kind of hops off the bed and kind of glares at you, and she goes, well, that fix will be 50 gold.
50 gold?
Yep,
Oh, bejeebs.
can't do medical work
Fine.
for free in this country.
I could have passed you up for 50 gold.
Alright,
I mean,
Oh.
not gonna lie. I could have passed you up.
I mean, you also could have healed him for free, but, you know.
I did heal him for free. But I don't know if more than one's
Alright.
gonna cost you.
I took 50 away. I can heal up all the way now.
Oh yeah, you can definitely go ahead and heal up all the way now.
Alright. Hooray! I'm okay now!
Are you, though?
That's the real question here.
No! But let's go anyway!
Alright, that's still 50 gold, please. And she goes ahead and holds her hand out.
I gave it to you!
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't recall. Alright. So you go ahead and hand the gold to her, and she just kind of glares at it, and she's like playing with the coins, and she just kind of smiles and is lost in her own world, and she's like, gold, yes. And she just kind of trails off. With that, you guys go ahead and leave this hospital, or quote-unquote
Yep.
hospital.
We gotta go find our buddies.
Yeah.
Alright, you go ahead and...
I want drugs.
Ooh, wait. Before we leave, can I persuade the goblin to buy some of my drugs?
Oh, that's right. I forgot you.
Alright, go ahead and,
Oh my
for
God.
this, roll a persuasion check.
Alright, persuasion. Oh, dude! What are the fucking chances? Natural 20.
Yes!
So,
Oh, no.
I'm all about that.
not only do you
Yes.
completely make back what you got or what you paid for this, but you managed to go all around the rest of the hospital selling the other patients your drugs. And now all of them are just like, dude. And Arkrampin, you have earned 150 gold from your venture.
Are
Yay!
you gonna share?
Yay!
What the
I think you need some.
If.
Yay! Drug
If.
dealing crazy man!
I don't know if I'm more disappointed that works every time, or I'm impressed.
That's
Little bit
only like
column A,
the
little
third
bit
time
column
I've done
B.
it.
Oh my god.
Alright. So you guys go ahead and...
Grandpa used to sell drugs to kids and animals.
No animals in this hospital, but a lot of doped up patients now, so nice.
That is ideal. So now let us move on.
Alright. So with that, you guys go ahead and walk out of the hospital, and let's see. Arkrampin, go ahead and make a perception check.
Perception. All right. Ooh, oh, where'd my die? My die. Where'd my d20? All right.
Actually, yeah, no, perception's fine.
Perception. All right. Come on, something good, something good. Oh, that's... Okay,
Not as good as the
perception.
nat 20 you just
No,
Can
I
I-
wish it was.
Can I send Ias flying around looking for them?
Oh yeah, of course. So yeah, you can just go ahead and send ice up in the sky, and then go ahead and
Well, I
search
got
through the
16.
city. And yeah, you can go ahead and make a perception check as well in that case.
Okay.
I got 16.
That's
Not bad.
14.
All right, not bad.
I'm just fascinated with all the snow.
I mean, a fair point, because the
It's like
You should
snow
rise.
doesn't exist where I come from.
But yeah, on the map, it's like literally right next to a desert. So yeah, you're not used to this. So our Crampton, kind of looking around, you get a feel for the streets, but you were more distracted by your wound and your new magic glass of milk, and you didn't necessarily pay attention to the route that the cart had taken on its way to the hospital. But you can see like the food stalls and the various shops around, but nothing else necessarily. And Soren, what you gather from that, your Raven had kind of flown all around the town, just kind of looking for your people, and you can't catch a lot of them, but you did manage to see Surge heading into one of the inns that's kind of on the crossroads at the very center of the town.
I managed to see who?
Surge, one of the Crown's Guard members that's kind of been with you guys for a little bit.
Oh, okay. So then I will have Ias fly back to us, and we will start heading that way.
All right, and then all right. Would you prefer to go by foot, or would you like to go ahead and call one of the carriages?
What was the distance?
So the distance from this hospital to one of those inns would be about 13 miles.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna call somebody
it's-
to take.
This is
our
a big
asses
town.
over there.
All right.
Do not
I-
worry, I will pay for everybody.
Hail a cab.
Yep. All right. So you guys go ahead and get one of the
Right on.
carriages, and go ahead and pay the one more copper real quick to go ahead and get on board and head on towards.
Copper for each of us. So
Yeah,
it's
for
free.
each.
Don't
yeah.
worry, I will pay.
I was just saying.
All right. So you,
Crampton's got all.
all right. So yeah, go ahead and pay 3, and then. All right. Yeah. Never mind. I was gonna say. What about pay for
I may
the
be a
milk?
crazy old warlock, but I'm a rich old warlock.
Oh yeah. No kidding. Freaking selling.
A rich
drugs.
old crazy warlock. A rich old crazy warlock.
All right, and then while you're doing that, we go back to Matthias, who had been taking this carriage across the way to one of the taverns nearby. Though this is actually more of an inn and a tavern, which a lot of them in this town seem to be. Let me go ahead and get my notes pulled up real quick because I'm not prepared very well. All right, so Matthias, the cart that you've been in with Michael and Azael, for the most part, the two of them have been fairly quiet. Michael's just kind of tried to make small talk with you, and just usual bullcrap human stuff. And you guys go ahead and pull into this crossroads where all the inns kind of line the roads. The dwarven woman, as Michael and Azael go ahead and get out of the cart, just goes, "Thank you very much." And do you go ahead and follow them out of the cart?
Absolutely.
All right. The three of you get out of the cart, and Michael just kind of... Michael examines the inns kind of lining this road, and just like kind of keeps his hands on his hips, and he points at one that's kind of the most to the north of the rest of the inns. And you can see on the sign that it says the Heron Hall. And Michael goes, "Well, what say we go here? They have some pretty good ale."
Absolutely.
All right, sounds good. And then Azael, as usual, says nothing. So you go ahead and follow him into this inn. It's not particularly large. It is 2 stories high, but it's only about 15 feet wide or so. It's not a particularly impressive inn, but it's comfortable enough. It's well lit. it actually uses electric lights as opposed to torches or candelabra like many other places in Olympe do that you've seen. And you walk inside, and you can actually see a couple familiar faces in here. You can see Holly and Glenn sitting at one of the bars, and they're just kind of enjoying a drink and talking quietly to themselves. And across the way, you can see John, Garen's father, sitting there just kind of scanning through a book. And
boy.
yeah. And Michael kind of leads you to the bar, and at the bar is this relatively short, short elven man. He's got this like dark brown complexion, kind of silver hair spiked up a little bit, and he's got like this very energetic expression on his face. And he looks up at you guys, and he goes, "Hey, you staying the night, or you just want drinks?" And Azael, just sitting there with his arms crossed. Actually, for the first time you ever hear his voice, he just goes, "Drink." And then Michael goes, "I'll just have a drink as well."
Just take the drinks.
All right. And
I'll
then
be on my way.
And then this elven man's like, "All right, you're not gonna regret this." And he goes ahead and turns around and begins mixing the drinks. And as he is, Michael's sitting there, and he has his hands kind of on his laps, and he doesn't really make eye contact with you, but he just kind of slightly turns his head towards you, and he goes, "What do you make of the visions you've been seeing?"
Can you repeat that?
Oh, he turns towards you and says, "What do you make of the visions you've been seeing?"
I'm not quite sure what you're talking about.
And then Michael just kind of clears his throat and nudges Azael, and Azael kind of claps his hands, and the world around you kind of like fades to darkness, and then it's replaced with the same scene that you have seen before of this castle kind of on this high cliff with the ocean surrounding it.
Oh boy.
And Michael goes, "This is the vision. What do you make of it?"
Well, what I make of it right now is hopefully I won't have to scale another damn wall.
Michael kind of gives you a sideways glance, and he's like, "A sideways wall? What do you mean exactly?" Or wall, you know what I mean, whatever.
Never mind. Where's this castle located?
Michael just kind of leans back and puts his hands behind his head, and he just says, "Not even I'm aware. I just know that last time we tried getting in your head, this was the place we went to. I'm wondering what it is. So I was wondering if you had any idea."
I think I may have a couple of theories, but I don't want to say anything until I know the truth.
Smart man, smart man. And then Azael goes ahead and claps his hands again, and the vision, like in an instant, just fades back to the tavern that you guys are in. And in front of you are already 3 drinks kind of lining the bar. And you look at the glass, and the drink looks surprisingly thick, like especially for alcohol. And Michael and Azael go ahead and kind of lift their glasses. Michael lifts his up kind of in cheers, and he goes, "Well, to the cult." And he goes ahead and starts downing the drink. And do you go ahead and follow suit?
I'd like to make an Arcana check on the drink first.
Oh yeah, go ahead and make an Arcana check.
Yeah, let me go ahead and do that first. 26. That's a nat 20.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, glancing at it, you can't sense anything magical about it, but you can tell this is dangerously strong.
Oh yeah, I down it.
Alright, so, let's see. Go ahead and, as you down
A
it,
single drop will not escape my lips.
go ahead and...
He refuses to let any droplets remain in the pitcher.
Yep.
Wisdom saving throw.
Constitution saving throw.
Constitution saving throw. That's bad. Okay.
You're a rogue.
Oh, that's a 12.
Ooh.
So, like, the moment you down it, you go ahead and slam the glass down, and you just kind of, you feel it, like, sliding down your throat, like, almost at a snail's pace. And it just, you feel that warmth, and you just kind of, like, your eyes go wide, your head goes blank, and you just pass out completely.
Fantastic.
And that is where we will take our break, because this first part went on a lot longer than I expected it to. So with that, we'll go ahead and
Jeez, are we gonna even have a second session tonight? Jeez.
Yeah, no, we will go ahead and reconvene at, we'll say 10:10.
Perfect.
Awesome.
I'll be back.
Alright, but in the meantime, stay weird, my fellow weirdos.
Yeah.
Alright, recording stopped. Stream stopped. Awesome.
I'm gonna try to fix that freaking board.
Well, yeah, there was like that was weird. Like, like the audio was like just fine. Like, is there something going on with your mic, man?
Matt Mercer.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that might be me.
Well, no, it's just sometimes Potassium's mic will just go out. It's just like it's like, oh yeah, he'll say something, but I'm like, what? You didn't say anything.
Oh.
And
Yeah, mine
but
cuts out pretty easily, but I also think just because my computer's shitty, my shit echoes a lot. But I can't tell if it is right now. Is it?
no.
No? Okay. Okay, we're good.
Cool.
Sick.
No, I'm just referring to like as you were talking like as you were dungeon master.
Ah.
Yeah, sometimes it would cut out.
Oh yeah, that happens.
How do I do this? There we go. Yay, fix my desk.
You need super glue.
Yeah, it should be fine now, though, as long as I don't do that again.
No more Minotauring.
Seriously.
I'm not Minotauring.
That was... I am so happy, honestly. That was amazing.
It's screams.
Oh, great.
I'm so happy you chose Minotaur as your second language.
I know how to roll a crazy person.
Yes, and you're... I'm serious. I am so happy our Crampton exists. It's so freaking good.
Which is super
I'm
fun.
glad. As long as I'm making people laugh, it's a win.
Oh, it's so good. I've been having so many tech issues with my recording that I don't even care. It's so fun.
Oh my gosh. I could go on a giant rant about that. So I looked like there's something up with OBS, like you have to not like when you record, like you have to know what's gonna be like. But however, some video editing softwares won't let you edit the video if it's in a. So I spent hours trying to find a converter to turn it into MP4, but every converter I found either costed money or had a limit to it, and I was driving myself crazy. And then he pulled it up in like 3 seconds. He's like, hey, just do it through OBS. There's an OBS that you can do it through OBS. You can just ring what? And yeah, you can do it in 3 steps and just immediately edit things how I want. I'm like, why didn't Google tell me that after all the things I searched for? Like, I spent hours like searching for this shit. My friend just finds it in like 3 seconds. I'm like, I hate it.
That's why sometimes it's better to ask a friend than it is to ask the internet.
True.
There you go.
Well, he asked the internet.
Oh, well. Maybe that friend's just better at asking the internet.
Yes, he is. Whenever I need to freaking research something, I usually ask him. But he's been busy lately, so I didn't want to.
Gotcha. Sorry, so who all is who? I don't know anybody here.
Oh, I'm Joe. I'm our Crampin, the crazy old man.
What's up, Joe? Good to meet you.
You as well. Who are you?
I am Cora, friend of Brinley from far off land.
From far off.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I am just the weirdo DM who plays a little bit of everyone.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I'm Amelia. I'm currently playing Soren.
Hi, nice to meet you, Amelia.
I'm Kayla, and I play Cassie.
What's up, Cassie? My girl. Oh my goodness, yes. I'm excited. We already got a thing going. I cannot wait to get my boy into this shit.
Yeah.
It's gonna
I'm
be
excited.
great.
I know. I need to make my character sheet. Oh, fuck.
Elon Musk offers to buy and then delete Facebook.
I'd love that.
That's a good idea.
But where am I gonna get my good memes from?
Right?
Everywhere else.
Same.
Cool.
Mark Zuckerberg!
Who freaking invented Facebook? I can't think of Facebook. In all caps. 1 hour later. Mark Zuckerberg.
Oh, I forgot I threw my phone. I was like, where's my phone? It's like across
yeah.
the room.
You made it do somersaults. That's what you get. Just beginning.
Like onions, like okay, they put like 2 onions on it. It's like, more onion, please.
So, what went on this session? Because I just kind of caught the last few bits. I don't know what's going on ever.
Oh, you missed a good session.
Oh,
I mean, we're still going. We're just on a break.
I know. I just miss all the good bit. I just don't know what the hell's going on.
There
So,
will be more.
It's all
Someone
good
stole
bits.
drugs and had their stomach open.
yep.
That's all
Hey, he stabbed himself twice.
that. No,
Yeah, they were just basically plot-wise. Everyone's just been on a train heading to this city to the north, and they finally arrived and are just kind of getting settled in. Our buddy Arkrampin was sent to a quote-unquote hospital, and Matthias, the thief of the group, just kind of wandered off on his own, like any good rogue does, apparently. And
I feel like I was taken to a dispensary and someone just stitched me up in the back.
I mean, they did just use they straight up used a sewing kit to go ahead and.
it is what it is.
I probably could have done a better job for free.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then so the patchwork cost him 50 gold, but then he proceeded to sell drugs to every single person in the hospital and make 150 gold in return.
Oh yeah, I caught that bit. That was pretty epic.
100 gold profit.
Yeah. And
You throw me off with the Matthias character because that was the name of this current character concept that I have before, like when I first made him. So every time I look at that and I hear you say it, I'm like, oh, what?
Matthias.
Matthias. And now we got Julian now.
Nice.
Julian.
Oh, yeah, what class have you decided on? Oh, yeah, wait. Oh, yeah. Freaking. Yeah, never mind. I know.
Yeah, Artificer. I'm still trying to figure out how to put that for D&D Beyond because I can't do the Artificer thing.
Yeah, that's so dumb.
Yeah.
If you have
If it's okay, I'm just gonna put like Sorcerer for now, just as like a placeholder, and try to work around.
Oh yeah, of course. No, like, because I'm playing another game and I'm a Dark Elf, but for some reason D&D Beyond doesn't have Dark Elf, so I just kind of had to alter the stats to match it.
Gotcha.
This is me in a nutshell sometimes when I'm playing our.
Oh.
Okay, but like, you're like the MVP right now, so you can't even complain.
Oh, thanks.
Like, seriously.
There are times I'm like, oh wait, no, I had a joke.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
yeah, you're the MVP. Meanwhile, previous session, yes, I am the dungeon master, and I say you stab yourself.
I mean, like...
I was just waiting.
I was like, dude, are you trying to kill me?
No, or no.
Oh my god, that would be so funny.
It's your way of getting rid of me. Just like
He's
me,
like, "Are
just
you trying to kill
slowly,
me?"
just stabbing myself.
There's a story reason for everything, like I say every session.
Oh, I love that.
This is based after a book series I've been writing since I was like 19. So like this story is very well story involved.
Oh, that's fantastic.
But here's what's weird. I don't know
Sounds
if
like my
it's.
campaign.
I don't know if it was
Exactly.
looked at or not. I don't know if it matters, but like I even have a thing here. It's like against being charmed, and magic can't put me to sleep. So just can't. I wasn't charmed. It was the elves.
What elves?
The elves was from the little girl, or like what'd you call them?
Oh, they were all elves. It was like two adult elves, the little girl, and then a younger elf kind of reading a storybook in front of a fire.
Mm. See, when you said elves, like I know I'm an elf. I just realized that, but I realized that afterwards. But I'm like, when you said elf, I just pictured like Santa Claus elves.
Of course.
They're just there in their little.
And don't
I was picturing the Futurama fucking the Neptunians.
It's perfect.
Oh my god. Yeah, like when you said elves, I'm like picturing little Neptunians from Futurama. I'm like, oh okay.
Now I guess to provide more of a description, the two adult elves were actually really tall, but they were like kind of sitting cross-legged on each side of the kind of younger elven boy, but who was like older than the girl there.
I want more information about that.
I'm back just in time.
Ooh, yeah, it is
Alright.
10:10.
Alright, hold on. Alright, I'm live and showing. Come on! Stupid Twitch. Show me the live. Okay, we are the live. And start recording. Alright, we're back, my fellow weirdos. It's part 2, chapter 6. Dungeon Master, go for it.
Alright. So, with that being the case, with Matthias having passed out in this tavern, we'll revisit that topic at a slightly later time. But the rest of you, having gone ahead and taken this carriage back, the carriage kind of goes through a slightly different route back towards the center of this town. And as you're heading further in, you start to realize that the roads in this city are a lot more labyrinthine than you'd likely prefer, and are very glad that there are freaking carriage drivers here, because otherwise it would be impossible to navigate. But you finally cross through the rather lively commercial district of people drunkenly singing, playing music, and just having a good time. And the carriage brings you towards this intersection where the inns were at. And he kind of turns towards all of you and goes, would you like to go ahead and find a place to rest for the night if you do not live here?
Yeah, that would be a good thing to do.
Ah!
So I don't know if you actually heard, but he just asked if you'd like to go ahead and find or choose one of these inns to stay at, considering that you guys are outsiders.
What are you guys?
We're back with them now, right?
Not necessarily. You're in the area that you saw them in, that's for sure. But everyone's kind of been dispersed at this point.
Okay, then I'm not there, so.
Okay. We are like in this carriage. Cassie, since you mentioned that it would be a good idea, the carriage goes ahead and stops in front of these inns, and do you guys go ahead and get out?
Sure.
Alright. You walk out, and as the carriage rides away, you go ahead and look at your inns, and there are 5 different options, and each inn kind of looks a little different, and you're scanning a couple of them, and the I had to pull something up because I totally okay, yeah, there it is. So You see the first one, it's kind of 2 stories. You didn't necessarily see Matthias go into this one, but it's the one he was in, the Heron Hall, that looks pretty modest, and just a little to the left of that one is a single story in a very rundown building. And like it's got wide open doors and like this very old rusted iron sign that in a very weird like kind of handwritten way spells out the words lucid dreamers. And for anyone interested, go ahead and make an arcana check.
Arcana? Alright.
17.
Nice.
No.
Alright.
And I'm pretty sure I'm proficient in Arcana, aren't I? Yeah. So 18.
Not bad. So both of you, looking at this inn, you can sense this magical power coming from the inside. And it's very powerful. It doesn't really feel malevolent, nor benevolent either. It just feels like a particular magic power coming from in here that doesn't necessarily seem normal for inns or anything. But with that, you go ahead and look towards the next option, a little to the left of that, and it's another 1-story inn, but this one is a lot wider than the first 2. And giving it a look, it has a very earthy feel. Like in front of the inn and around it is soil with kind of sprouts of grass trying to pop out, and you can see the faintest hint of palm trees kind of trying to grow out in front of this door. And above the door is the sign that says Austrinian Knights. And then to the left of that is the main road that continues cutting into the west. And after that road is the... oh yeah, I should mention the Austrinian Knights. Soren, that's the inn that you saw Surge go into.
Okay, good.
Yeah, and then to the left of the road, heading to the west, is a much bigger inn than any of the other ones here. It's standing at about 3 stories, and it's made of very well-polished brick that almost looks more like marble than like stone or anything. And it's got like this almost stone cover covering the door, being held by very smooth stone pillars, and like above this cover over the door in gold letters spells the King's Rest. And then to the left of that is the shabbiest looking inn you've ever seen. It's this very small single-story inn with there's no door. There are door hinges where doors should be, but there's no door there. And just kind of out front on a sign stuck in the ground is just the word inn painted with blue letters.
So we've got 3 options. Door number 1, door number 2, or no door number 3.
Yeah, these are your
Soren
5 options.
just sighs very, very loudly. And did she see which door Sergei went into?
So Serge went into the one called Austrinian Knights.
Okay, yeah, we're going in there.
All right.
I just grab Arcrampen's arm and just drag him in there.
All right, Arcrampen,
Hey, what's the milk?
do you resist or do you just follow along?
Just go along with it while like trying to keep my milk steady.
Okay, so actually, yeah, go ahead and make a dexterity check for me then. Because she's kind of jerking you along, so.
Oh no! 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 No!
What is it?
Oh! It's a natural 1.
All right.
Poor Soren.
No!
So, Soren, as you go ahead and grab Arcrampen's arm and jerk it forward, you didn't realize that you grabbed the arm holding the staff, and just this milk spills all over you and your raven. And Arcrampen, looking at your glass, devastated, you only have about, like, 1/8 of the milk left in the glass.
I start crying devastatingly, throwing out the term, there's no reason to cry over spilt milk, because all my milk's on the ground!
No! Oh, Jesus.
You can't see it, but I'm majorly facepalming, like, big time. Because, like, I knew exactly where you were going the moment you said you were gonna cry. Like, I knew where you were going with that.
With the freaking with the spilt milk thing.
Yeah. It's freaking
You
genius, dude.
spilt my milk, you blind crazy person.
Alright, and then, did you say, like, you kind of stayed behind. Are you gonna go in with him, or are you gonna, like, stay out and maybe look at the other options?
Or what the other one
So,
The pretty one. You said there was one with marble.
yeah, one with marble, that's the King's Rest. It's the biggest in this town.
I want to go to that one.
Alright, cool. We'll go ahead and get to that one momentarily. And then, so...
Because I like
Who
pretty.
needs rest when my milk's on the ground?
I like pretty.
Fair enough. So, Soren, you're just kind of annoyed at our Krampin and, like, just...
She's annoyed at me. She spilled my milk.
And as you're, like, shouting this as you're walking into this inn. And then...
It's gonna be like the grudge throughout the entire fucking session.
just the fact that Soren
Bring it up
spilled
all
his...
the time. Just you spilt my milk.
I support it.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. Alright.
The ultimate
little
grudge.
You spilled
Yes!
my milk, motherfucker.
Yes, oh my gosh, I haven't heard that in
What?
so long.
What?
Do it again.
Right here.
Really? Again?
Yeah, do it again.
You little bitch. You spilled my milk, motherfucker.
It's like this thing he and my brother used to say in high school.
Yeah.
Alright, so with freaking our Krampin throwing a temper tantrum, almost spilling more milk, but there's like just enough to where it's not really cresting over the edge. You walk into this inn, this Australian Nights, and immediately just this wave of heat washes over both of you. And it's almost like you walked in an entirely different climate. It's just hot and it's humid. And you can hear kind of very tropical bird sound, like bird calls. And this inn doesn't really have a ground. It's actually covered with grass. And there are like palm trees kind of lining the corners of this inn, cresting over the roof, and then the leaves kind of falling down and kind of draping around this very ethereal-looking lamp that's just kind of shining down on the ground. And there's this man with like a tan complexion in the back, just kind of strumming away at this ukulele. And there's a hallway to the northernmost wall that goes ahead and kind of curves behind to the rest of the building, as well as a hallway to your guys' left that leads to more rooms. And then to your right is a counter where you see, my apologies for not being fully prepared, because I have way too many NPCs. Like, what crap, what am I doing with my life? And so you see this human woman with like this very dark tan complexion. Her hair's her hair's black, but she has like a silver streak going through one side, like a pink strand going through the other side, and it's pulled back in its ponytail, and it's incredibly just wavy. And as you guys go ahead and walk in, she goes, "Oh, welcome to the Austrian Nights," and then themed after our home continent of Austrian. Are you looking for a room?
Oh, we're looking for our friends, actually.
Oh.
I'm gonna have Ayas look around and see if he can spot them.
Okay, and like as your raven goes ahead and flies off and goes through the rest of the inn, the human woman just goes, "Oh, yeah, okay, that's fine." And then go ahead and make an investigation check.
Okay.
I'm just in like the corner, just sobbing to myself over my milk.
That's a non-natural 20.
All right, not bad at all. So, goes ahead and flies through the rest of this inn, and you can gather a lot of it has the same atmosphere. But going through some of the corridors, he finds this cafe-looking area with kind of an open-air space at the back of the inn. It's like this. It has like this awning covering it, and there are numerous circular tables, each with wooden chairs by them. And he finds Serge sitting at one of the tables with like a with a cup of water at his side, as well as a plate of interesting food that you've never really actually seen before.
We're gonna head that way then.
All right, and then as your Raven goes ahead and returns, you guys go and head that way, and then this human woman just kind of glances at you, and she goes, "Hey, no, okay," and she goes ahead and just kind of bows away. So you two go ahead and go through the same path that your Raven went through, and then you go to this cafe area, and it's a little cooler here, considering it's more open air into the relatively cold atmosphere of Olympe, which felt warm when you entered, but after being in the warm humidity of this inn, you suddenly the outside just feels so much colder, but it's nice. And you go ahead and see Serge kind of sitting there at his table, and he's just kind of staring out at the town before him, holding his water in his hand with a fork in his other hand, kind of half stabbed into probably the largest shrimp you've ever seen. It's probably it's bigger than the size of the average hand, and he has his fork just kind of in its side.
It's a jumbo shrimp.
Yeah, and he's just kind of staring out at the town.
Hey, have you seen any of the rest of the party?
And as you go ahead and approach him, he just kind of jumps and he goes, "Oh, I didn't expect you guys to be here. Everyone else just kind of dispersed and went into the various inns, staying where there were vacancies, really. And well, I've been a fan of tropical settings, and I figured this inn was perfect for me. What about you two? Have you decided on where you're going to stay? They have plenty of options here, it seems."
No, I was hoping to find the rest of the group and try and stick together, but I guess if they're all splitting up.
And Serge just kind of nods in agreement, and he goes, "Oh yeah, Glenn and Holly figured that since the inns are so close together, they're not too worried about dispersing." And he kind of gives you a sideways glance, and he goes, "I'm assuming you didn't get the memo. So Glenn says that he's going to have everyone else reconvene after about 3 days have passed. He wants to give everyone the chance to rest and settle down before we make our next move."
Alright, I guess we can do that then.
Alright, and then Serge looks up at our Krampin, bewildered, and he's like, "What's with the glass? Where's the little guy?"
Oh god. So while he's doing that, Soren is just making the slicing neck motions, no, don't, do not.
I lose my imp! I lose my Bob! I lost my Bob! And now I lost my milk!
I'm like, the other people sitting in this cafe are just kind of looking up at our Krampin and just not looking happy by this random old guy screaming about nonsense in the middle of the cafe.
You got what? You want your stairs? Well, and I storm out the door.
And then, but before you do, you actually hear someone else go, "What you can't try?" And in Minotaur, you heard someone say, "Dude, you speak Minotaur?"
Yeah.
and then he just kind of slaps his hand down on the table. And he's like, and he holds up a thumb. And in Minotaur, you heard, "Hell yeah, you and I, we're gonna be friends, buddy."
Yeah.
And looking at him, you can see it's another very crazed-looking old elven dude with a beard, but it looks like it's been dyed black, but it was a very poor job because you can see bits of the dye still on his chin, at the very top of the hair follicles. He did not blend it very well. You can still see bits of silver.
Future me.
Future.
Well, you said dye. Maybe he freaking dyed his beard.
Well, I meant died as I'm dead. No, I'm totally kidding.
Me from the future just hey, what's up, dude? I'm gonna help you. That will in turn help me, since I am future you.
Yes.
This works, cause crazy.
One our Krampin is too much.
Paradoxes don't apply to our Krampin. He's too crazy.
You're not wrong, honestly. Like, seriously.
He's just a doppelganger. It's not the same thing.
Alright. So with that, Surge just is kind of amused by this, and he's like,
Real quick. So instead of storming out, I want to go sit down next to that guy.
alright, so you sit down next to him, and he just kind of glances at you, and he puts like his hand up to like the side of his mouth, almost like he's whispering, which there's ultimately no need to, because who knows Minotaur? And he goes, and in Minotaur, he said, "Hey, have you heard of Adria's Gaming Hall?"
Oh no.
I said no. What you speak?
And he throws up his hands, nearly like smacking the rest of the milk out of your glass, but like it's just barely away from the edge of the glass, and he goes,
Pretty much at that point, you might as well just hit the glass off of the fucking thing.
and he just goes, and then Minotaur, he said, "Why, it's only the best fucking casino in the whole province. I tell you, man, they're so stupid there. You can they'll bet more every time you play a game. They keep adding more, and they call it raising the stakes. I don't know what that means, but I guess it gets me more money."
And I'm like, you know what? I've lost my bob, and then I try to do something, I got money for it. I lost my milk, and now my glass. So, you know what? Let's do it. Maybe I'll win a lot of money.
And then he's like, and Minotaur is like, "So you'll come with me?"
Let's do it!
And he's like, and he goes in, like, kind of puts his arm around yours and kind of starts leading you out of the inn. And then
I can't tell if he's speaking gorilla or Minotaur.
and then with that, everyone else who has just witnessed this, like the entire cafe has just gone silent as our Krampin and this crazy old man has just walked out of the room. Soren,
Yeah, even Soren is just watches this happen and just doesn't even bother to intercede, because obviously it has to be fate, because two crazy old elf dudes that speak Minotaur don't just randomly meet in taverns. So I'm just going with it. This is probably fine.
Probably. And they're going to a casino. Oh boy. Alright. And then with that, Surge just kind of, he looks up at you and he goes, "Do you have any idea what just happened?"
No more than usual with that one.
And he just kind of, he laughs and he's like, "That's our Krampin, I suppose." And he goes in and takes a sip of water and he looks up at you and he goes, "So, with everyone dispersed and deciding to rest, what do you think you'll do?"
Probably just get a room and be done with it until tomorrow.
Alright, sounds good. Well, this particular inn, it's very tropical, and I know it's not to everyone's taste, but it's only 5 silver for a night, and you only have to pay an extra 3 if you want breakfast.
Sounds like a deal to me, and I'll go up to the poor bartender or maid or whatever she is that I previously completely ignored and just hold out some money.
Alright, and like as you do, and she just she is still kind of like as you approach her, she just still kind of looks a little like downtrodden, but she's like, "Oh, okay, yes, thank you. And she goes ahead and hands you your room key, and she says, "Go ahead and take the hallway directly behind you, and your room will be the second one on the right."
Thank you very much. And then I'm gonna head to the room and I'm gonna relax for the rest of the night.
Alright, sounds good. So, with that being the case, we'll go back to Cassie. So, you go ahead and enter the King's Rest, and immediately this place just kind of screams regal atmosphere, and it is something you're very familiar with. And,
Oh, no one else can see me. I'm like, this is my cup of tea.
And then you go ahead and go in, and there are like soldiers lining the walls, and they're kind of, some of them are sitting at tables like playing card games or just kind of chatting over a cup of ale or whatever. And some of them are like actually standing guard in front of each hallway, kind of holding their spears up and like standing very stiff, like expressionless. And I forgot everyone. I intentionally studied my notes so this wouldn't happen, but you know what, whatever. And then as you go and approach, this elven woman, just a little shorter than you, goes ahead and walks up, and she goes, "Oh, are you here to stay the night?"
Yes, actually. But I've been, searching for some friends. Happened to just ask whether or not they're here, find out.
Oh, sure. A few new people have just come in. They said that they came from the train that just rolled in this morning. Are you perhaps looking for people from there?
Yes, those are exactly my kind of people.
Oh, alright. For the most part, I think some of them are still staying in their rooms, but you can feel free to look around. This place is rather large. They may be staying in one of the rest areas, or maybe grabbing some food. Would you like to go ahead and search around?
Yeah.
Alright, sounds good. And, we do request payment up front if you want to stay. So, for the night, it will be 5 gold per night. Is that alright?
Yeah, I can do that.
Alright, thank you very much. So you go ahead and hand her the 5 gold. Oh yeah, no, don't 5 platinum for an inn. That's insanity. Alright, and then as you enter the gold, she's like, alright, thank you very much. So, we do have a few different restaurant areas we can go ahead and eat, and we also have an open bar that is open 24/7. And you just kind of internally think, oh, Matthias would love that. And, yep. And she said, drinks are free as long as you're staying. So, with that, go ahead and begin your search. And as you go ahead and turn around, you can see one hallway kind of directly in front of you. What was that notification? I'm upset now. Alright, whatever. You see one kind of heading directly in front of you that kind of seems to zigzag from what you can see, and the limited view, the rest of it is kind of obscured by the rest of the walls, and it's guarded by another one of the soldiers. And then there's a hallway to your right, which is kind of behind the desk where this elven woman approached you, that continues heading to the right. So which direction would you like to go first?
I'm gonna go down the zigzag hallway.
Alright, so you go ahead and walk forward, and as you go and walk forward, the walls are a very comfortable, like, white-blue kind of shade. And, like, a lot of, like, it has, like, a candelabra up at the center of the hallway. And you noticed when you came in, there was one in the foyer as well. And then they're just kind of melting candles on each side of the walls. And as you go ahead and turn your left and go through this hallway heading forward, there are a couple doors lining it, and they are all the rooms. You can see they're labeled. There's like 1A, 1A, or 1B, 1C, 2A, 2B, 2C on the right side. And you continue going forward, and the hallway kind of heads into this upstairs area that continues going up to the 2nd floor. Would you like to go up? Alright. You head upstairs, and on the 2nd floor, it's pretty widespread. There are very few walls obscuring this view, but there are all sorts of square tables covered in very, very fine white cloth that... go ahead and make a perception check, actually. And I'm gonna roll something real quick, too, while you're doing that. Ooh.
I never remember. 8.
Alright. So,
That one's better.
I just wanted to check real quick to see if you could see something, but looking around in this dining area, there aren't really many people. You don't really see a lot of people, but... let me double check who's actually here. Okay. You do actually see Illuris and Chisadri sitting at one of the tables, kind of...
They pay her. Okay. I'm just... No, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying they're just kind of sitting there enjoying a meal and just kind of talking to each other. So,
Oh, I'm gonna walk over.
all right, you head on over, and as soon as you do, Dolores is like, "Hey, freaking good to see you." And then Chisadri turns around, and she kind of has her regular expression of like kind of a. She looks a little distant, but she's like kind of smiling, and she's like, "Oh, Cassie, I'm so glad to see you. Why not join us?"
Yeah, sure. I'm gonna sit down with them. Hey guys, how you guys doing?
And Dolores like goes in and takes like a metallic stein. He's like, "As good as we can be, all things considered." He goes in and takes like a massive swig and then just kind of sets it down. He goes, "We made sure that Shoal has been taken care of, so don't have to worry about that." And then Chisadri kind of looks at you and grabs your hand. She goes, "Well, how have you been doing? We know that this has been rather hard on you."
I kind of like look away and then just like sigh a little bit. And I go, I've had worse and better days, so you know this is kind of edging on one towards the more negative spectrum. But you know, I've had worse days. I'm okay.
That's understandable. It's a lot to process, that's for sure. But we have a big support. Like, first of all, you can talk to either Aluris or I anytime. We're always here for you. We definitely consider you a good friend of ours, and we hope you realize that. And I'm sure the others could say the same thing. And then Aluris is like, "Yeah, Maggie's staying here too. I'm sure you can talk to her at any point if you wanted to as well." And Chisadri kind of calls over a waiter and asks, "Do you want anything? We can pay for you."
Nothing too heavy at the moment. Maybe just some bread and some milk, maybe.
All right. And then Chisadri looks up at the waiter and kind of gives the order, and he just kind of nods and heads back into the kitchen. And they just kind of sit there in silence for a little bit. And Chisadri, like after a little bit, she kind of looks over you and she goes, "Have faith. I know it all seems rather confusing at the moment, but, well, I've come to know Holly a decent amount, and I have faith that she'll lead us down a good path. To victory, for that matter, and hopefully we can stop a war before it even happens." And she kind of gives a smile, and go ahead and make an insight check.
I'm good at that, I think. Yes. Are you seeing these rolls?
Yeah.
Well, I rolled the 3, but it's 9 total.
All right. So.
Is that how my books? Yes.
All right. Yeah, just wanted to make sure. And then you just kind of go and sit there for a little bit, and no one else really says anything. Aluris is still kind of downing drink after drink. There's actually like a champagne bottle, like a very fancy-looking champagne bottle. Like this looks extremely expensive, and he's just like pouring it in like in troves, like filling the cup until the bottle's empty.
You might as well just drink out of the bottle.
And then as you say that, he goes, "Good idea," and he goes and starts drinking out of the bottle. Oh my god. And as he finishes like just freaking like chugging it down, he's like, "You ever read that diary anymore?"
Oh, you mean this thing? And then I pull it out and I'm like, "You got some juicy stuff in here. You weren't kidding."
Right? And then he goes ahead and turns towards you, and like he kind of puts his hand up to the side of his mouth, and he's like, "She was crazy."
Yeah, crazy. Yeah. If that's your definition of crazy.
And he just kind of leans back with his hands on his head, and he's like, "I don't know, man. Everything's crazy these days."
No kidding.
And Chisadri is like, "Well, what's your plan? I mean, we all know where you've come from, and I won't say anything because there are other people around. But do you plan on staying with the collaboration, or do you have plans of your own?"
I haven't truly decided yet. I mean, I haven't been around people much my entire life other than, you know, in a royal aspect. But, you know, just looking to feel things out for now. And maybe we'll stick around for a bit. But, you know, getting a feel for stuff. For sure.
That makes sense. Definitely let us know if you need anything, okay? And as she says that, the waiter comes and brings you your food, just a light meal, and with that, Laura says, well, dig in. We got plenty of money lying in our pockets from, well, all sorts of shit, so don't question it.
Okay.
With that, you go ahead and finish your meal and just kind of enjoy a bit of a conversation with Illyris and Chisadri as the rest of the day goes by, and
Afterwards, I want to head up to my room.
oh yeah, I was actually just gonna get to that. So like after you finished your meal, you go ahead and head back out, and you look at the room key that was given to you, and the tag says it says 3B. So you go ahead and you ask the elven woman, and she goes and directs you to the hallway that was to the east, or yeah, to your right initially when you came in. And you go ahead and follow in that room, and you go ahead and find your room, 3B, and then you enter. And this is a big room. Like, this is like queen-size bed we're talking about, very thick comforters, like multiple pillows lining the top of the bed, and it's got like this very elegant window with this like with these white curtains kind of draped over it, where you can kind of overlook the rest of the city. And you go inside, and the room, like, you're immediately hit with this this lavender smell, like as you go ahead and lay down, and it's just, you smell the blankets and they just smell incredibly fresh. And
this is a homey kind of place. I want to take off my shields since I have two technically, and I'm just gonna full-fledged like jump on, like widespread, like skydive style onto the bed, and just like, now I could get used to this, and I'm just gonna like KO.
Alright, fair enough. So, with that being the case, and all of you finally having come to rest, that brings us to our man, Matthias. And so, Matthias...
Well, I haven't found a bed. I'm freaking off gambling.
Exactly. Well, the bed doesn't matter to you. You're gonna freaking gamble, so like, who cares? So
Yeah, I'm still present, by the way.
you're still what? Oh, passed out. Yeah.
I'm still present.
Oh yeah. No, don't worry. I was making sure we got everything else covered before we went and touched upon yours. So
Fantastic.
let me go ahead and get this started. So immediately, like as your consciousness finally kind of starts fading back in, you just feel this pain all over your body, like as though you did the most intense workout you could even think of. And below you, you can feel like the soft caress of a blanket below you and a pillow on top of your head, and you can just kind of hear this faint, cool wind breeze. And finally, your eyes open up, and you no longer feel this caress of this blanket and pillow. And around you, you can just see snow all around, and the city of Olympe is no longer within your line of sight. You go ahead and stand up and look around at the mountains around you, and they do not look familiar. This does not look like your home. And
Fantastic.
you can see like the faint light of the sun kind of beginning to set behind the clouds out in the distance. And as it is, all around you, you can just see just snow, the ruins of buildings that were once there, and as far as you can tell, no other life or anything like that. You go ahead and check yourself, and just you can see all your gear is still there. You still have all your money and your items, but go ahead and make an investigation or survival check for me.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, so yeah, I can just. Oh no!
Uh-oh.
That's a nat 1. So a 2.
Damn it.
Alright, so you're kind of looking around at where you are, and, like, just a faint hint of panic kind of wells up within you as you start realizing you don't know where you are, and they're like, you can't find any signs of anyone else having been there with you. But you do go ahead and, as you're looking around, you can see this pass kind of curving through the mountains to what you assume is the west, considering the location of the sun.
Okay. I guess I'll start heading. Let's say, since I don't recognize this area, I'm gonna go ahead and say west on the path.
Alright. So you go ahead and start making your way towards this mountain pass, and the hills around you kind of start growing higher gradually until they grow into these just towering mountains above you, or on each side, as you go ahead and continue along this kind of waving pass that's kind of crawling through the mountains, it seems, almost in like a snake formation. You go ahead and follow along the pass, and for the most part, the path isn't necessarily branching. It's just kind of winding up, and eventually the path starts going on an uphill incline, almost heading up a mountain. You continue going up, and then finally it crests into the mountain itself, almost like it was dug there. And there's this kind of arched path into the mountain itself. And you do see light on the other side, so it doesn't necessarily look like a closed cave or anything. Do you go in?
Absolutely.
Alright. As you go ahead and head inside this cave, the floor below you starts getting a little slippier. I want you to go ahead and make an acrobatics check for this.
Okay. That. Go. Oop. Pull up. 18.
Perfect. So, just having lived in the snowy region for so long, you're used to when the ground starts getting slippery and it's just ice covered by the snow. And you manage to take very precise steps going along this icy path. And occasionally you slide a little bit and your body kind of tenses up as it does, but for the most part you stay completely up and continue going through this cave. And finally, it takes you towards this kind of a more open central area. It's a little darker in the center, but you can still see the light at the other end of the cave. However, in the central area, there is a path that kind of branches off towards the left and winds off into darkness. But also there's that path heading northward towards the light area, presumably to the other side of this cave. What do you do?
Well, true adventurers always go left, so I'm gonna head left into the dark, mostly because I have dark vision for 60 feet, so might as well.
Alright, and that's not even a problem. You go ahead and head into this leftmost path and continue crawling in. Even though it's getting darker, you still see a decent amount ahead of you. But the hallway, this corridor more or less, kind of starts going down, and the further down it gets, the darker it gets, and you can't necessarily see the end of this path, but you do see it kind of curving downward. Do you continue going there?
You know what? I'm actually curious to see what the light side has to offer, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn back.
Alright, so you go ahead and turn back around and go into that central area, and then as you're turning back, go ahead and make a perception check for me.
Fantastic. Perception, that's a good modifier, because I'm a rogue. That's a 22.
Damn. So, as you go ahead and head back into that central area you were just in, you look on the ground, and you can see kind of in the corner towards that path leading towards the light, there is there appears to be like ice pick just kind of sitting there, and next to it is like this folded piece of paper that looks very old and weathered.
Fantastic. I will read the piece of paper and pick up the ice pick.
All right, so you go ahead and read the piece of paper, and as you're scanning it, it's not necessarily, there aren't actually any words, but you can see that this entire thing, there's a very poorly done drawing of kind of like a snowy landscape and this, I suppose what you would call a mausoleum with like this large arched doorway the size, like reaching up to the roof itself. And next to this drawing is an arrow pointing to the top of the page.
I don't know, I flipped the page over.
Alright, yeah, you flip it over and there's nothing on the other side.
Thought so. I don't even know what to make of that. Is there more path in front of me down the light side?
Just a little more. Doesn't like you can see the entire rest of the path. It does go ahead and lead towards the mouth of the cave on the other side.
I'm going back in the dark.
All right. You go ahead and turn back around, head down that light path, and you go down towards that path that's beginning to become a surprisingly steep incline. But you're used to this environment, so once it gets too steep, you just make your steps a little more precise and make sure you don't go too fast or begin sliding. And you finish this path
And
finally.
also use the ice pick to help with grip.
Exactly. There we go. Oh yeah, and you can go ahead and add ice pick to your inventory now if you want. Because it's just like this. It's just an ice pick with like a wooden handle and like I'd say an iron head.
It took me so long to realize that this is Persona 5 music.
Or no, this is Danganronpa music.
Oh,
Yeah, this
right.
is Danganronpa.
Right, that's what I meant. That's what I meant. Excuse
Hey,
me.
they're basically the same, except Danganronpa is an
Basically.
RPG. All right.
This is...
Well, we played we talked about both of them near the same time, so it's easy.
Yeah.
Is this 1 or 2? This is 1, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so.
See, no. I actually did think it was Persona 5 because I could have sworn this was like menu music.
Huh?
But I can't. But I do see it as being Danganronpa.
Fair
But
enough.
for me, it does look like Persona 5 in my head. Like it sounds like the fucking Doctor music.
I can understand that. Alright, so using the ice pick to your advantage, you go ahead and just kind of use it for traction and continue your climb down. And then eventually, this steep incline kind of comes to a very sharp curve downward. And thankfully, you managed to catch it with your dark vision, so you do see it. And you look down, and you can see that below this, it's about 10 feet below you. It opens up into this wider chamber area.
Alright, I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Oh yeah, no worries. So, as you're going down this path, eventually it kind of curves downward very suddenly, but with your dark vision you catch that. And it's almost like a cliffside that you're now on top of. Only the ground below it is only 10 feet below. And with your dark vision you can see that below this cliff, it kind of opens up into a wider area, more or less.
Alright, I'll go ahead and drop down into it.
Alright, easy enough. You go ahead and make that drop, and you just kind of land just perfectly to where you don't like get really injured too much. 10 feet isn't too big a drop necessarily, especially for someone of your profession. And you go ahead and walk into this chamber, and as you look around at this circular chamber, you can see that it is now no longer a cave wall. The walls are now made of black marble bricks, and the ground below you is almost like shining, as though it was made of some sort of crystalline material now. And before you spreads this circular courtyard area, and there are these long pillars stretching from the ground to the very roof of the cave. And in front of you, like in between these pillars, because there are about 4 of them, 2 on each side. In front, you just see essentially darkness.
Okay. I'm sorry, what exactly is around me again?
Oh yeah, no worries. So, around you, you're just in this large room that is, even though it's within the cave, it doesn't appear to be a cave anymore. It's more constructed of black brick with a, like it's very smooth textured brick as well. And below you is like this white crystalline kind of floor. And then to your right and left are these large stone pillars stretching from the bottom of this floor all the way to the top of the roof. And in front of you is this darkness that, for some reason, you can't necessarily see. You can see what's around it, but it's just this kind of a sphere of darkness just kind of right there. And behind you is just the cliff face that you had just jumped down from.
Oh god, I know what this is. Matthias doesn't, but I do. I know exactly what this is.
So what do you do?
Seeing as I probably won't get destroyed by this, I'll go ahead and get a sense of... I attempt to either touch or reach into the darkness.
Alright. You go ahead and put your hand into the darkness, and as you do, you can feel the temperature around your hand kind of drop cold, and you get this weird sensation like your hand just passed through falling water. And you put your hand through, and other than that weird sensation, you don't necessarily feel anything. Although you do see the darkness kind of start to crawl up your arm just a little bit. And go ahead and make a religion check.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. 13.
Alright. And as you're watching this darkness kind of creep around you, you can hear the very faint sound of a woman trying to speak, but you can't make out what she's saying. But other than that, you are just unsure what to make of this darkness that's just slowly crawling up your arm and up to your shoulder.
I kind of step back. God, what even are my options here?
So,
I just have to let it take me, I guess.
So as you go ahead and sit there, the darkness actually stops at your shoulder. And you go ahead and kind of move your arm a little bit, and you realize you can't actually move it. The darkness, the darkness around your arm does not at all feel firm or anything, but your arm, you kind of get that pins and needles feeling, like your arm had fallen asleep, and it's just kind of stuck there. And then,
okay,
as you're standing there, you actually hear footsteps coming from behind you, kind of echoing in the cave. And you go ahead and turn around, and you look up, and you can see the face of Azael. He goes ahead and jumps down from this cliffside, looks at you, smiles, and says, "You found her." And that is where we'll end tonight's session.
Yes!
You found her?
Oh, I found her, boys!
Yeah, I think you knew.
I found her. I know exactly who this is.
You do indeed. This is a thing from
exactly what's happening.
This is the thing from the book series.
Mm-hmm. This is exactly what's happening.
Not gonna lie, I kind of spaced out towards the end there.
Oh, I spaced out during any moment where it wasn't in Matthias' point of view.
Yes, and it's pretty much I'm just like, duh.
That's totally understandable. This was a lot of going back and forth between perspectives, and I think this is definitely our longest session, but reasonably so. We finally got you guys settled into a proper town and everything.
Yeah.
It's great. Just go up, just just meet someone else who speaks Minotaur and just go off and start gambling. Like, yeah.
I'm so happy that was a thing. Like, that was just the best.
Just like upset, I got upset that I got my milk spilled, but you know what? Got a friend.
All right. So with that, I will be seeing you guys the Wednesday after next.
All right.
Sweet.
Yeah.
For the video, stay
Bye.
weird, my fellow weirdos.
Thanks.
Catch you, batcha.